How's it going, Dave?
Good, man. How are you?
All right. What's the weather like in Boston? Are you guys gonna get crushed by this cold?
Are we going to get crushed by something?
Well, I'm asking you. We have like travel advisories already coming in for Friday.
Oh, you do? Let me see the weather. Hold on. I'm so bad at checking. I just never check. Never check.
Nice.
We're looking good. We're looking good. Friday's going to rain. But cold, yeah, but no major weather issues. I mean, everything like shut down a few days ago because it was raining.
Because of rain? Was it like
Yeah.
really cold out as well?
No, it wasn't. It was like 40, like low 40s. So it was pretty surprising because that's not typically the kind of thing that makes us freak out around here.
Right. So weird.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we were gonna leave to go for the holidays. We were getting ready to leave. We were gonna leave on Friday, but now I think we're leaving Thursday to head because the weather.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Back to Harrisburg, to my
Nice.
in-laws. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not traveling, so that works out well for me, even if there was anything. I don't like to travel that much.
I despise traveling.
I know you do.
I'm going to Rochester in January to teach at Artisan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I'm going again in February because I playing at a gamecation, so board game weekend. So I'm looking
That's
forward
awesome.
to that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I heard that Artisan was apostate.
My audio is low in my headphones. I'm not sure what's going on here.
What is?
My audio.
Oh,
I mean, it's fine. It's just, it's quiet.
Hmm.
So do you stay in town for the holidays then?
yeah. Yeah, I'm not really going anywhere. My family's around here, so makes it nice and easy.
I'm like watching the Cavs game.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Jazz, so it's Donovan Mitchell's first game against his old team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're up by 17 right now, so the Cavs,
Cavs are?
Yeah.
Are they good this year?
Yeah, they're the number 3 team in the East right now.
I mean, they're no Boston. They're no Celtics.
I mean, they
So I don't-
beat Boston both times they played them, but other than that, I guess you're right.
When you just don't care in the regular season.
Right. That's yeah. That's.
Hey,
that's
hold
how
on.
I-
I've got an issue to tend to. Be right back.
Okay.
I went classy tonight, Don.
What's that?
I went classy tonight.
You wore your zip-up
Because-
hoodie for the first time?
Is this the first time? No, I received some free beer after a holiday party at my work.
That's the only way to get Bud Light, isn't it?
I think it is.
Did you mean free beer or beer free?
Either way.
I'm drinking the hard stuff. Some I don't know if you can see with this screen this way, but it's just
Reeds?
ginger ale. Just
Ginger ale. Well, it's about the same strength that I got.
You know, my tummy was a little upset because I ate some burritos for dinner and they did not agree with me whatsoever.
No, that'll do it. That'll do it.
The answer is yes. I know that one. Hey, good evening. I hope you're all having a wonderful night. Glad to have you here with us. We are looking forward to a wonderful stream. As normal, or as seems to have become normal, it is Monday night, and so therefore we have the cantankerous Capozzi with us.
Cantankerous, I love that.
Yeah, I just came up with that just now.
That's so good.
That's top billing right there. So
Yeah.
Dave is with us tonight, so we're looking forward to a great evening with all of you. Conversation. Feel free to ask whatever questions you'd like. Just throw them in the chat. Just put a Q and a colon. It makes it easier for us to find your question amidst the conversation. And the only thing we ask is that you please be kind, generous, and polite to one another, and we can have some wonderful conversations tonight. So with that being said, how you doing tonight, Dave?
Doing all right. I'm doing all right. This time of the year, getting dark at like 4:15 is a little more than I like to bargain for. I like more daylight.
Yeah, me too. I am struggling. Oh no, we lost Dave. Dave's video went out, so hopefully Dave will be jumping back in a few moments. Evidently, his day has been going so well but his internet not quite as good. So we'll give him a moment. Hopefully, he'll jump back in with us here. And yeah. Yes, Amanda, curmudgeonly. Yes. I realized when I updated my graphics today, I did not do a very good job of making sure that our Dave is coming in louder than me. I'm not sure what's happening. Am I still quiet, Amanda, or is it any better? Let me know. Keep me posted. Dave once was lost, now will be found. There he is. He is back.
You kicking cantankerous Capozzi out? What's happening here?
I mean, clearly the problem was the nickname. You all right? You survived? You just wanted to go get another one of those beers. Yeah.
Got a whole pack of them.
While you were gone, I've been trying to get all of this. Oh, man. I am just a disaster.
No.
I totally am. It's true. All right, here we go. We have not left, people. Oh. Here we go.
We're in the darkness.
Over to here. Yeah, we're in the dark. We're going through a tunnel. Nothing to worry about, folks. We're going through a tunnel.
Thank you, Sarah. I hope so.
All right. There we go. Boom.
Here we are.
So Amanda says we can hear you, but the volume disparity is real. Well, I will say that Dave went out and got a really nice microphone. So maybe.
Am I louder or are you?
They're saying that you are louder.
Oh, I'll back up. I'll just back up. It's cool.
No, it's fine. You be you, man. You be as loud
and cantankerous as I can be.
That's right. Oh my goodness, this is a rough start to a stream, folks.
It depends on your perspective, because from my perspective, this is the best start we've gotten off to.
Yes. Okay. Well, good. All right. So Dave, you and I chatted briefly this afternoon about just kind of talking a little bit about maybe even like the holidays, talking about, how has what we think deconstruction brings to the holidays, maybe how the holidays maybe have changed for you. I don't know if they have or not.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if we want to start there, so
Let's do it.
for you said you don't travel for the holidays.
No.
So growing up, what was this time of year like for you growing up?
Yeah, for me, Don, I think, am I right that you grew up Pentecostal too?
No, I grew up like I couldn't have been further on the other end of the scale. I always say
Really?
I grew up frozen chosen.
Oh, okay.
That like if you took too deep of a breath, like you could be in trouble for the spirit moving too strongly amongst you.
Oh, for sure. We would have definitely, I would have judged you hardcore as
As a
having
non-Pentecostal.
the appearance of righteousness, but lacking in the real faith,
Wow, at
So I
least you
guess,
think I have the appearance of righteousness. I'll take it.
well, yeah, as a kid, I'm sure I would have given you at least that just to be humble enough. Um, but for me, we would just, I don't know, holidays were pretty simple. We didn't do Advent. So I remember explicitly hearing anything that was associated with liturgy or Catholicism, we ran from, because my parents grew up Catholic, and it was just kind of like a,
Mm.
we did all the things though, all the Christian things, like had Christmas Eve services, Christmas service, all of that. From the time I was a little kid, did presents, did the Santa thing. So we did the Jesus thing and the Santa thing. Yeah, I would say it was a fairly traditional Christian experience of this time of year when it comes in terms of evangelical experience.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got into the covenant that I started the evangelical covenant, that I started having any sort of consideration to Advent or some of the more like the liturgical calendar or anything like that. How about you?
Yeah, we did Advent, but I think that was as close to liturgy as the denomination I grew up in ever really got.
Which was what again?
Church of God, or is it
Oh,
Churches
okay.
of God? Whichever the non-Pentecostal one was. There's
Right.
Church of God out of Cleveland, Tennessee, and then Church of God or Churches of God out of Findlay, Ohio. Findlay,
Gotcha.
Ohio was the non-charismatic.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure which one it was,
Yeah.
whether it's church or churches, but it was the one out of Findlay, Ohio that was not Pentecostal.
Okay.
I'm crushing it tonight. I mean,
I think you are.
I'm crushing it tonight. It's fantastic.
Well, Cleveland's winning, right? You're feeling good.
Yes. Yes, that's what it's. The stinking Cavs have me all messed up. I was actually, it is the first time I ever watched part of a game before my stream. So maybe we will blame that on the Cavs.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so here's a question. Question for the Pentecostals: what is up with the close your eyes and raise your hand and say this prayer thing? My mom and I visited my sister's church to support her in a Christmas spectacular, and we both got so freaked out when they do that.
Oh, wow. Okay. I guess I didn't know any other way. So for me, my understanding of it was just that, like, if you're moved by the Spirit, you're going to show it in there's going to be a physical manifestation of it. If your body's not really involved in it, the whole mind, heart, body, soul thing, then you're just really not worshiping. So I remember having pretty clear judgments again, like about people like Catholic folks who would do the stand up, sit down, memorize, just be able to sing like, "Oh, God is an awesome," without like the whole thing. Like you weren't doing it. So closing your eyes, belting it out, raising your hands, taking your shirt and tie off, your feet, waving flags around, dancing. If you weren't doing that, from my perspective, you weren't filled with the Spirit.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
so what does that even mean? I'm going to show some naivety here on my own part. Like what does it even mean filled with the Spirit? So I mean, I have heard, the definitions of that and the concepts of that, but I know that from one denomination to another, one stream of Christian expression to another, that was really different. So like in the churches that I grew up in, being filled with the Spirit meant that you had an insight into something that someone declared was like, oh, that's someone who is full of the Spirit, right? But I'm certain, based on what your expression just now, that's different in the setting that you grew up in.
I think both would apply. I think they would also say the same thing, that there's an anointing on somebody, and that. So if somebody has wisdom, that's an anointing. They're filled with the Spirit. But typically, the way we talked about it in Pentecostal churches was the way that you expressed worship to God, specifically in the music time.
I see.
So I guess, reflecting back on it, what would it mean to be filled with the Spirit? It would be that flowing through you is the life and breath of God. And that when you're praising God, when you're worshiping God, it's the most active, it's the most alive, and you can't contain yourself. So I think that's an expression of being filled with the Spirit. And I think the way that people would have looked at you and anyone else that wasn't expressing themselves that way, that they were either stifling the Spirit, or that they didn't have that. They weren't fully saved.
Yeah. So Sarah has a little bit of I think a clarification. I mean, like an altar call at the end of a service. Is it a more sensitive idea than coming to the altar? Like the pastor says, everyone bow your head, close your eyes, and if you feel moved by what you said, by what I said, raise your hand. Then they say, I see that hand. Thank you. That's just the pastor knows that no one actually liked the sermon. And so they tell everyone to close their eyes, and then they're like, oh, I'm so amazed at how many people have raised their hand.
That's incredible. I never, that's one thing I wish I did as a pastor. I never tried that trick.
I don't know that I have either, but I'm going to now. I'm going to say, everyone turn off your cameras and raise your electronic hand if what I said moved you. I guess that won't work. People will still see it.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I guess.
Oh my goodness.
But the real thing is, like, it is an interesting thing to bring up, like the close your eyes and like raise your hand thing. Performative piety versus pensive profundity. That's a great word.
That's a whole lot of oh my gosh, what is it when all the words start with the same letter?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. It's been one of those days. Yeah, Sarah Tana and I, one time we went to this when we had first bought our restaurant, and moved into the town where our restaurant was. We went to what we thought was a Church of God, Findlay, Ohio. Instead, it was a Church of God, Cleveland, Tennessee. And it was something very similar. And there's nothing that could be more, maybe I'm wrong about this. That's probably alliteration. Thank you, Amanda. There isn't much more that's more shocking to a system than a Christian who grew up in a space that is very frozen chosen, like I said about my experience, and encountering a very charismatic Pentecostal service. It's so disorienting. And Dave left again. He clearly doesn't like this topic. I'm not sure. I like that you all have given me alliteration. If the three of you all say alliteration one after the other, Dave, you don't want to talk about the Pentecostal charismatic movement? Is that?
I'm furious.
I can tell. I can absolutely tell. So, did you guys do anything in that church unique for Christmas? You said you didn't do very much liturgy or whatever, but was there like a Christmas Eve service? Was there like any kind of special events around it?
I guess I don't have a ton of memories from the Pentecostal days because I was up till the age of 11. And then after that, I remember all these different traditions. There would always be a Christmas Eve service, right? There's some kind of special live nativity thing, where you go and you just watch and you hear the songs. You get dressed up. Sometimes you're in it. You sing. You play your saxophone. You keep moving. Um,
Yeah.
and then we'd open a present afterwards. Um, that was basically the tradition that I can remember as a kid.
Yeah, mine we had a weird like before we opened gifts in the morning before on the morning of Christmas we had to like sing happy birthday to Jesus while standing around the Christmas tree.
Yes, that's how you do it. That's how you do Christmas, Mon Pa Schiewer.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure that we did a good job of carrying that tradition on. In my household, we have not done that.
Maybe
In
we
fact,
should do it now.
you know what's interesting is we've never in our household have done. I think 1 year did we ever do uh, presents under the tree
Hmm.
in our house, and it
One
was
year.
just 1 year, and
Wow.
it was a year in which I think we were going out of town. Well, we always go out of town. We almost always spend the holidays at Tana's parents, so that's part of the
Okay.
reason for that. But I think we put a couple like puzzle type books under the tree for Malcolm, so when he was on the trip, he could have something to do. But other
Hmm.
than that, I don't believe we actually ever really did the Christmas gifts thing as a household. Um, we all celebrate Benny Hinn Day when we fall back at the end of daylight savings. Amanda, you're on a roll. I don't know if it's a holy roll or what, but it's a
Hey,
roll.
wow, this is good.
Yeah, this is all this we're gonna have to delete this. This isn't gonna make it onto. Are we gonna see the subscription list, the subscription level just
Dwindle
drop tonight? Yeah,
to 10.
that's right. And it's just 10 people not paying attention. So yeah, we never really did a whole lot of the um like big Christmas stuff. I think we did like a Christmas Eve candlelight thing at our church.
Hmm.
Um, but it's so interesting to me because I talk to so many people that Christmas is such a uniquely meaningful, filled with tradition, filled with memory event. And for me to not really, I don't really have much of that from my childhood, right? So
Hmm.
now I would say part of our tradition as our household is to go back to Pennsylvania, spend the holidays there. And the
Hmm.
two big traditions that I would say that have come out of that is that Christmas Eve always, um, there's always a gathering of family at Tana's parents' home, exchanging of gifts, and then Christmas Day, Tana and her family go to a movie.
Oh,
like,
nice.
like
Nice.
that's the big tradition. Now I
Yeah.
saw earlier this week there was photos I think on Instagram of you making cookies with your kiddos.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Always gingerbread cookies.
Oh yeah,
That's something. Yeah, that's something that we have been up to since I can remember. My mom has been doing it for 40 years, she said, so maybe 50, I don't know. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's a fun little thing. My daughter and I typically do it. My 9-year-old son joined in this year. So good times, yeah.
nice.
But other than that, it just kind of adjusts every year, and with my life having shifted the way that it has, it's just now figuring out a new rhythm and what tradition looks like. Yeah. So this year, um, no church. For the last 3 years, I haven't stepped foot in a church, and I don't plan to. So, that's one of the things that's different now. Since I wouldn't even call it deconstruction. I was recalling, Don, when I first became a pastor in 2014, and I had deconstructed long before that. I would
Yeah,
just say that it's the connection to Christianity as an institution that just isn't going to continue for me. And so I won't be investing in that with my kids together. If
right.
they feel like they want to do something like that with someone else, I'm happy to have them go, but that's not going to be the case with me.
Yeah, so there's a question here I think that kind of touches on that a little bit. says, "Do you feel any similar pangs of joy around Christmas that you had before your deconstruction?"
No. No. I enjoy the season. It's fun. It's also just another season for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I typically am that way. I appreciated a time. Again, I think this was with the covenant where I started to pay more attention to seasons and times in the calendar. That was an interesting time for me and a time of growth. And then I kind of have reverted back to, yeah, the year is the year. New Year's not different than July 5th. And so that's kind of the way I am. It's fun. The sights are fun. The lights are fun. The smells, the sounds.
Right.
That's about it for me. Yeah.
You know,
How about you, Don?
I always felt like I was a bad pastor,
Mm-hmm.
because
Well, you were.
Well, I mean, I was. I'm better now. But there was always this like thing where, my peers and colleagues would be like, between this and Easter, there was like a heightened sense of, I don't know, excitement about faith this time of year. And
Was it faith or was it more butts in the pews and money in the coffer?
yeah, I don't know, because a lot of the people that I'm thinking of, I still really respect. And so I don't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't want to reduce. I'm sure some of them felt that way. They're like, this is a great time that we're going to have an increased attendance. And so we're going to be able to parlay that into attendance throughout the year, whatever it might be. But just like the whole, and I think more so around Easter, like the people would greet me with, "He is risen." And I'm like,
He's risen indeed.
yeah. And, that's kind of the expectation of how I would respond. But instead, I was just like, as he was yesterday, and as he will be tomorrow and the next. And just because Jesus got up at sunrise on the third day doesn't mean I need to. And
who's the cantankerous one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it always got me like this idea of like, I needed to be excited about a baby Jesus. And I remember one year, it was a year like this year, actually, so I'm guessing it was 14 years ago, where Christmas was on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I did a sermon called "Have We Missed the Messiah?" Because, every year Advent is this idea of anticipation of the birth of the Messiah. And I'm like, that done happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And instead of every year anticipating the birth of the Messiah, maybe we should live out the year as if the Messiah is here. And so I don't know, the holidays for me, I am kind of curmudgeonly, have some curmudgeonry around that. And I think part of it is, the household I grew up in was not healthy. And so holidays there was no great, beautiful, meaningful tradition that was attached to it. And so I think I kind of missed out on that piece. But I also just think that maybe deconstructing 20 years ago, like I did, also kind of just eliminate. And, because part of it's also the fact that with my understanding of Judaism and everything, I just don't think Jesus was born in December. In fact, I would say that is the
no, you don't think so?
That's the 1 month we could eliminate that it's even likely that he was born. There was just no chance that it was
right,
December.
Right. Exactly.
You could make a case for like 11 of the 12 months, and we picked the month that you can't make a case for.
Okay. Actually, that brings up something for me that I don't necessarily need to go down this tangent, but one of the things that's very frustrating for me, and this is going to sound like a tangent, but it's where my mind's going. There's all of these videos that atheists will put out around like, oh, Jesus's birth is not even when he was born, and like Horus and this and that, and all of this other stuff that's just actually not true. historically or archaeologically. And so I'm just kind of like, it just brings up a broader point that frustrates me, that a lot of the ex-evangelical folks move straight over to atheism and come up with all sorts of weird and untrue things that I understand where it comes from, because it's trying to debunk something that's been hurtful to them or
Yeah.
has made them feel foolish. But don't combat it with lies or untruths. Like, these things aren't true. Horus wasn't, like, Jesus is not connected it to it the way that people think it is. It's just a bit annoying to me, so I had to vent that. So thank you for the space.
Yeah, no, I actually I'd like to kind of dig into that a little bit, because one of the things that is really sad to me is that in the arena of deconstructionism, uh, or whatever we're going to call it, there is very little and reconstruction that is being held out to people in a healthy way, right? I think we touched on this a little bit when we chatted before about this, but it's reconstruction can be something that is done kind of along. He just does not want to be here. All right, hold on one second. Let's see. All right, folks, give me a moment here while I see what's happening here with Dave. There we go.
I don't know what's happening. I'm not even touching anything. It just keeps kicking me out.
I feel like it's appropriate.
You were saying reconstruction.
It's the Holy Spirit. So what I'm thinking about is, so like, I've had lots of conversations with people lately that help individuals process deconstruction.
Yeah.
And part of that offering that is given to them is then to help them through that process, but then to allow them to end up wherever they end up.
Yeah.
Which I think is healthy, right?
Yeah.
But what I don't feel is necessarily happening maybe as much as I'd like, and so maybe give me some pushback here, is I think that there's a way for us to say, okay, let's take this apart. While we're taking it apart, let's find the things that were flawed in it.
Yeah.
Here's a way to see that, to maintain your faith and read this passage in a manner or understand this theology in a way that holds you still in faith.
Yeah.
And you still have the choice, right? You still have the choice to be like, no, thank you. Not interested in that.
Yeah.
Or I'm not interested in that today. Because I think
Right.
that's another thing. When people are deconstructing, they're not necessarily looking to jump back into something else.
Yeah.
And I just feel like right now, a lot of folks that are deconstructing do not have a theological framework or a biblical framework of their own in which to turn to.
Don, I think I'm not going to give you pushback. I will add some to that, though. I think it's really helpful.
Yeah.
What I notice, and it's so hard because, I've done a lot of study, and so I've studied the languages, I've studied the text for years through seminary, but through my own study and all that other stuff, the tools that you learn. And so I have a pretty good grasp on what I think is valuable and what I think is myth and all that other sort of stuff. There's things that I see so often that I often am defending for people who have deconstructed is that they're hurt.
Yes.
Or they've been made to feel foolish. It's one of those two kinds of things. So they're hurt or both. And so when it comes to the after, like, now I'm done with that. I'm so done with that. then they start to attack, right? So because this thing has made you feel a certain way, or it's caused you trauma or whatever it is, you go on the attack. But often the attacks are shallow, and they're not really grounded in a full understanding of the text and
Yeah.
of some of the more meaningful ways of approaching it. And it very much diminishes some really ancient and beautiful practices, because what you'll see people is like throw away all religion is trash, it's harmful, and I'm not in that camp, and I think that's unhelpful. And so I think where it's a struggle, I'll say, instead of continuing to ramble, where it's a struggle is that people leave and have that approach for very good reason.
Yeah.
Because they've been raised in shallow, faith, and they exited for good reason because they've been hurt and it was shallow. And so they're attacking shallow things.
Right.
Rightfully so. But when it comes to, I'll give you one example. I'm sorry, I'm going on a lot.
Please
but like
go.
Somebody said that Jesus promoted violence, and their text was something about, where he tells a parable about how God destroys people or something. I'm like, well, he's not promoting violence. Did he believe that that his father would judge the earth, and that might include some destruction and people might be either annihilated or whatever? Yeah. But did he promote retaliation or violence human to human? No, he did not. And so I got, people attacking me for that. He's not lumped in with like, this violence that you experienced from evangelicalism. He's offering, so it's all that kind of stuff that, I find myself defending, the faith tradition, even when I actually have all sorts of beefs with it myself. But I do find myself in this middle ground of defending the deconstructionists and then defending the tradition too. I don't know. That was a lot. Sorry.
No, that was really helpful. Because I think one of the things for me that's sad is a lot of people that walk away from faith walk away because of hurt and harm. And this is probably me projecting quite a bit, right? But I have quite a bit of hurt and harm around bad doctrine, bad theology, an abusive pastor, who happened to be my father, right?
Yep.
And because of that, I didn't walk away from faith. I had to reevaluate the interpretation of the faith that was handed to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% certain that that's happening a whole lot in deconstruction circles, of giving people the tools to reevaluate the interpretations they were handed. And again, none of that is meant to be heavy-handed or to keep people in place, but instead to offer, you still have choices to make. You still have things that you could decide. You don't need to walk away from faith because of the unhealth of this setting. And granted, it was extremely unhealthy, right? But there's still potentially value there that you could find beauty in. Something drew you to it,
right?
And here's a way to think about it, and you can still walk away if that's what's healthy for you.
Yeah, I think that here's where my mind goes, is that there's two things. Is one, the way you talk about it is very different than the way I've heard it from other Christians or pastors.
I'm certain.
Which is, don't turn your back on God and other Christians because you've been hurt. Kind of like, which could sound like it's the same kind of thought, but it's not.
No,
it's very much not. It's what you're saying that I think is beautiful, and I wish could be the case more often, is that you're brought up in a very particular religion that is a religion of certainty, and you weren't taught faith, you were taught certainty, and then so you go on the other side of certainty, which is atheism. So you either are certain about God or you're certain not, that there is no God. There's a whole bunch more that doesn't get explored.
it's the danger of black and white thinking
Yeah.
in faith.
Yeah.
Right? The more
Yeah.
black and white your faith is, the more you're forced to abandon it if something shatters. And that's just, to me, that's heart wrenching.
It is.
Not because I think people have to stay in it, but I think but the heart wrenching part to me is people feel like they can't.
Right. And I think that they can't stay in what's hurting them, and
Correct.
they have to find something else. Yeah.
Correct. So, question: as pastors or former pastors, are there things you regret about the way you taught around Christmas?
Don, you want to take this first?
Yeah, I'm not sure that there really is for me. I mean, you're not getting good stuff at Christmas. Let's just be honest. You're getting a pre-packaged, flowery. The pastor's depending way more on the choir and the music and the candle lighting and all that. And you say "Baby Jesus" 3 to 5 times, and everyone walks away saying that was a great service. And honestly, I don't know that I regret anything I just said. I believe that that's really how a lot of pastors handle Christmas.
Yeah.
I think Easter's different. I think Easter they try to bring out the beating stick to conversion.
Yeah.
But at Christmas, I think it's more about candy canes and gumdrops, and has very little substance at Christmas. At least in the experiences I've had. So if I had any regret, it would be that it wasn't more substantial. But I'm not sure that I often taught at Christmas, other than the one year that I taught "Have We Missed the Messiah?" and I don't regret that one either.
That's good. I don't have regrets. That's just not a thing for me. But in general, when I was a pastor, I was a deconstructed pastor. So I already was not going to do the things that I found distasteful.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty intense person though. So I did bring the heat when more people were there. So I would in a sense that I would try to make it something impactful. I wouldn't do more. I wouldn't collect an offering. I wouldn't do anything like that. But I really did enjoy talking about the incarnation. I thought that was a really, really beautiful image to sort of connect with this idea that the Creator becomes one of us. I loved sort of teaching about that at Christmas time. I thought that was kind of beautiful. Not the baby Jesus thing, but the incarnation conversation I thought was really fun and beautiful. No regrets though.
I had there's a lot of tradition around Abraham, that when Abraham was born, it was predicted by astronomers and people following stars, and that's extra biblical writings that were around by the time of Jesus. So I'd say that some of the things I've enjoyed talking about, I also like talking about the idea that, more likely Jesus was either born at Passover or at Sukkot. And that would make more sense since every major part of his life was associated with a Jewish festival. So it'd make more sense to me that would be the case. And so I think that there's lots of interesting elements that exist in the nativity narrative in the text that I find to be fascinating, but it's usually not the stuff people want to hear at Christmas. People don't want to hear, they show up for their 1 or 2 services a year, and you're talking to them that this all probably took place in the fall or the spring. And welcome to the winter equinox.
That's good.
So let me ask you this: are you a happy holidays or a Merry Christmas person, and how angry do you get about this?
Don, as you know, I'm cantankerous. So
you are Dave Cantankerous Capozzi.
I actually just go to each supermarket in the area and just go around saying Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, no, I don't say either one, to be honest.
I thought you were gonna tell me you went to all the Starbucks and bought all the Christmas holiday cups and threw them away.
You know, the thing that this is one of those contextual things. In where I live, I don't think anyone has this conversation at all about Starbucks cups.
I don't think they do here anymore either. I don't think, at
No.
least not for several years. Yeah. No.
Okay. I don't say either one. If someone says Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas, I just don't say either one. I just am like, hi.
You
how are
flip
you?
them off.
I'm like, is this
Yeah.
allowed on YouTube?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, we will. I don't think about it, to be honest. When someone says like Happy Holidays to me, like, oh yeah, Happy Holidays. Or if someone says Merry Christmas, I'm like, yeah, same to you. Cool.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, I just don't care. Again, just it's kind of like you drinking Bud Light. It's
Like I don't care. I don't care either.
You clearly don't care about your taste buds.
I don't.
So no, I just don't find much in the way of like, I mean, because Happy Holidays is holy days,
Right.
Merry Christmas,
Right.
and my favorite is, you know, I always, when people get really upset about Merry Christmas, I'm like, oh, you're Catholic, and they're like, no, I'm a Christian, and I'm like, well, first of all, we need to talk about that, because Catholics are Christians.
Yep.
You mean no? I'm a Protestant.
Right.
But they'll be like, no, I'm a Christian. I'm like, well, then why do you care about Christmas? Because you're not going to the Christ Mass anyhow. So like, you're good. Like, are you going to the Christ's Mass this year? Because if you aren't,
I'd love to just follow you around for a day and see how those interactions go.
it's why my church is growing so quickly.
Rapid growth.
Rapid growth. We're growing at the speed of snails.
Well, actually, okay, so you bring something up there, Don. That's what these holidays were used for. They were used for growth, especially as church planters. That was like I remember my director of church planting, who was also yours, would encourage all sorts of things so that we would get butts in the seats.
Yes.
And that, because that pissed me off so much, I went in the opposite direction. I was like, guys, my thought is if you have family, that you should go to their faith communities this time of year. We'll do a little gathering if you want and have the kids sing, but like nothing. We're doing nothing. Just because I wanted to stick it to that idea.
I mean, we used to always joke that, particularly when we were in Blacksburg, that it was the 2 times a year that we just shouldn't even have church because everyone was in college and everyone went home to their families for those holidays.
Yeah.
So like there'd be like 2 of us, and that was Tana and I. So, actually, no, because Tana and I even went back to Pennsylvania for Christmas as well. So like no one was there.
No church building for you during these holidays.
What about
season's greetings? It's lovely.
What does that even mean? Like,
greet the season, Don. Just greet it.
Is season greetings like, I'd like to, on behalf of winter, tell you,
welcome to my season.
You are welcome here. Like, I don't know what any of this means, to be honest. Like,
I don't either.
Christmas, like why Merry Christmas?
Why Merry? Yeah.
I've been to a lot of masses and they're rarely merry.
Oh,
I mean, Mary is there, but they're not merry.
Mary's talk. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. It started out as Mary's Christ Mass.
Ooh.
And it slowly became, it drifted to become Merry
that's
Christmas.
Interesting. I like it.
I just made that up.
I like that.
So that's probably not accurate.
Actually, that's going to go from here to the ends of the earth. Everyone's going to be like, did you know what Merry Christmas? This is going to be a TikTok. There's going to be a million views. This
is my moment.
This is your moment. You just created a movement that you're not even going to get to.
Actually, no, because now the deconstructionists that you were talking about earlier that make up Horus and connections and stuff, they'll be able to actually utilize that.
Okay, you just I gotta maybe this is a therapy session. Why does that trigger me so much?
Which one?
The Horus thing. I'm serious. I'm trying to figure out why I hate you guys. I'm afraid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I enjoy Christmas music. It's nice.
I do too, actually.
Yeah, I enjoy
I
it.
didn't used to.
So, yeah, it's lovely. Again, I enjoyed the sounds. It's all fun.
I mean, it's mostly about drinking and sitting in front of fireplaces with friends,
Right?
and
Yeah.
I'm for all
With
that.
with chestnuts roasting. Um, I want to talk about why I'm triggered. So there is something about getting it right for me, and I don't know why. Like, why do I care so much about that? Do I get a gold star?
No, because you won a gold star is what I was assuming.
Oh, I have not. I would love to win a gold star.
Well, there you have it. If you can get it off the screen, it's all yours.
Thanks. I don't know what it is. I think okay, maybe it's this. Ready? Because I and so many other evangelicals have had fake news. Right? Have had fake news given to us and fed to us since we were kids, and it did so much damage. Who's Chet?
I don't know, but his nuts are on fire. I'm thinking his.
Okay. Chet's nuts. Okay. Wow, I didn't know that one, Amanda. Thank you. But I think that's it. Okay, so now I'm older. I'm like, no, we got to get this right. And if we're gonna critique it, we got to critique it the right way.
Yeah, you can't debunk a myth with a myth.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I'm with you. I agree with that. I would feel similarly. And honestly, it's why I get so mad at like the number of anti-theists or atheists who have wanted to debate with me. And I say to them, I feel like this is the exact same conversation I have with a fundamentalist.
Yeah.
You're saying nothing different than a fundamentalist says. And I have the same exact problem with them that I have with your arguments.
Right.
And so I don't care that you don't believe in God. That's fine.
Yeah.
But your arguments for the truthfulness or the whatever it is that you're getting at with the text or with God or with history is inaccurate because you have believed that what the fundamentalists say is true about what the Bible says. And so you're beginning with a fundamental flaw, which is a bad interpretation of the text. So your argument is not about Christianity. Your argument is about fundamentalist Christianity. And we agree.
Okay.
And that drives people up the wall when I agree with them and they're very anti-theist.
I'm fully with you. And here's where I'm the ideas that I've been playing with these days is that I would say that I am anti-Christianity. I am. Because if I trace it back, I don't see Christianity as fundamentally connected to Yeshua from Nazareth. I just don't really see it, to be honest. What I see from Christianity's history is not at all looking like that person that I've come to know, that I still say I'm a person of faith who's been deeply impacted by the life and teachings of Jesus as I understand them. But if I look at, are there some people throughout Christian history that I've resonated with their teachings? Absolutely. You definitely you, obviously.
Just kidding.
And are there people that I love in Christian? Of course. But I would say that I'm anti-Christianity. Like I'm not for Christianity, but I am for faith. But here's the thing, that's me, okay?
Yeah.
I agree that people start with an argument against fundamentalism. That's unhelpful. A child could debunk fundamentalism, right? But what
the good news is a child's going to be born in just a week.
that will debunk fundamentalism. And then also, I think I don't need anything to be true. So when someone tries to convince me of this or that thing, I'm like, I don't care. If that works for you, great. But if I see the binary thinking on either side, to me, that's where I start to get a little triggered. So it does make sense for me. It's like, no, I don't. Let's not swing all the way over there and stay
Right.
there. There's
Right.
just more room. There's more room to play. And I'm not interested in defending a system.
Yeah.
So maybe anti is not the right word. I'm not for like trying to win anyone back to Christianity.
Mm.
I would love to see people engage more with conversations about faith.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, it's not so much like what you're saying resonates with me other than the actual name, the anti-Christian, right?
Yes,
In
yes.
that in that I find that as being a member of what would be considered the Christian faith,
Mhm.
to hold that view would be a true Scotsman argument.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
That makes
and
sense.
and I fear that, right? I don't want to do that because because it's not helpful, right?
Hmm.
From as critiquing it from within. Because it's easy enough, and I think too many people already do this, where they just say, well, I don't agree with that, and so therefore they're not real Christians. Or
Yes. Yes. Never am I advocating for that kind of
no, no,
thinking.
no, no, I
Yeah.
didn't get that you were, and I think it's okay for
Yeah.
you to say it as someone
Yeah.
now standing outside of that space,
Yeah.
right?
I would say you're not a true Christian, Don,
Well, I've been told that often.
in the best way. I would say that, like, from my vantage point, that, like, what you practice is more connected to the way that I've understood. And it's not like an in and out kind of thing. And I actually really appreciate that. I receive that. And I think that's important to put out there. It's just more that when I hear Christian, I
Yeah,
don't think all the good things that other people might think when they hear it.
of course. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's why for me, I've really enjoyed when I talk to people clarifying that my faith has been shaped, molded, and informed from a foundation of pre-Constantinian Christianity.
Yeah. Right.
So not to say that I'm not Christian, but that which forms me and that's that which influences or shapes my thinking
Mhm.
is one that comes from a very early period of Christianity before it became the religion of empire,
Right.
and it still was the religion of the oppressed.
Mm.
That uh, that is beautiful to me. I find what happens post Constantine just continues to add complication upon complication upon complication to the point at which I would personally argue it would be unrecognizable to pre-Constantinian Christians.
Totally.
Like the worst of
That's,
their
yeah.
fears have come true.
Yes. Yes.
Like
Amen.
the day that the word got out that Constantine converted, I could imagine there was wailing and gnashing of teeth
Oh,
throughout
man.
Israel.
People ran for the hills. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think because of that, it's important for us to recognize or to at least acknowledge that there were some major fundamental shifts farther away from that time period, pre-Constantinian, and back towards it. Like
Yeah.
as much as Luther has some things that I really disagree as anti-Semitism and
Yep.
some other stuff that he had going, although earlier in his life he wasn't anti-Semitic. I don't know. It seems like something must have happened, became very
Right.
anti-Semitic by late in his life.
Yep.
But I would argue that that introduction of reform was a movement back closer to, but it never got taken far enough, so to speak, by
Yeah.
putting the Bible in the hands of every person through the printing press was the beginning of that process. But then the brilliance of empire said, "Oh no, only specifically trained individuals that we say are trained specifically are able to
Right.
interpret this text in a meaningful way. So yeah, you can read it, but only we can interpret it."
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, a brilliant move, but also
Yeah.
just one more way that that power pulled it back.
Absolutely. That's so good. Some would argue the Anabaptists took it all the way, but they had their issues too.
Well, I mean, they may have taken it to the place where it became the faith of the ordinary.
Yeah.
But I think that unfortunately with Anabaptists, there is still, and particularly today, there's a lot of privileged and powerful people within Anabaptist movement that would still think of the Bible as written to them. And I would say that's a flaw.
Yeah.
Do you feel the contemporary numbers game approach is actually counter to the original Church of the Oppressed identity?
I have 3 minutes. Yes.
Go.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, so Christianity is the largest religion on the planet. There's over 2.2 billion Christians, right? Which makes it completely, like, what is it? What even is it? And I think that the distinctiveness of that city on a hill thing that I think Jesus was trying to create around this little revolutionary group gets lost when you're about the numbers. And it creates this thing that we've been talking about this whole time, which is you get a bunch of people in the room, right? And then you feed them. Don, I've heard you talk about this in really meaningful ways. You feed people junk and you expect them to somehow like grow muscle. And, you know, it's like the numbers thing is the antithesis of, I mean, and it's nobody's fault. They're being told, like, come down, come say the prayer, come do the thing. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I have to leave with that one. But all my love to you, Don, and to the chat. We will be in touch this week for sure, brother.
All right, Dave. Happy holidays.
No, Don. No. Merry Christmas to you.
I received that.
Peace,
all right,
brother.
friend. Bye.
Peace. Bye.
So, Jezrek, to your question, I would say that I personally, hold on one second. I'm going to try and fix this here. So that way, there we go. I would say that I personally think that it is a conflict. It's counter to it because the idea of trying to add numbers or add power, or because at the end of the day, numbers are about power. And the more people that show up at church, the more power that takes hold of. And it's one thing to have numbers show up for a protest. It's something completely different when those numbers show up for what they often show up for at the church. And I don't know, maybe someone can help me. Someone in the chat can help me of what that differential is. Because to me, I'd say, like, I think about some of the activist opportunities that I've been a part of over the years. And you get excited when you have a large mass of people, even something that's not even so extreme activism in like critical mass bike rides, right? Where once a certain number of bicyclists show up, you can take over the road like the law permits, and it becomes impossible for cars to dissuade you from doing that, right? So something even as minor as cycling. There's something really powerful in that moment because numbers represent power and an amplified voice. So when we are a member of a marginalized community or an oppressed community, numbers represent a magnifying of voice. I would argue that when you're in a position of power, numbers actually are used the opposite way to mute the voice, to quiet the objector. And so raising up numbers in that way becomes very much, I think you hit it on the head, very counterintuitive. So thank you for that question. Does anybody else have any questions? There is no way that tonight I am spinning the wheels. So if you have questions, throw them in the chat. If not, I will send you on your merry way early tonight. It was kind of a rough stream tonight. I wasn't very flow. It wasn't. I'm still not. Gee whiz, man, what is going on? I've long felt that the only appropriate scorekeeping to be done on Sunday involves some sort of contest and questionable rules interpretation and sports. Yeah. I look, the strange thing about any time that you're keeping track of statistics, it to me seems like you are on a very dangerous path towards dehumanizing people. I think about the Holocaust and how individuals were numbered, tattooed and numbered. I think about prison systems where people are reduced to a number. I even think about our government and our medical care here in the United States, that you're reduced to your social security number. There's just so much the idea of statistics. Statistics, when they are used to understand complicated situations or complicated ideas, and they're used to give us guidance, I think they're wonderful. Statistics, when they are used in place of actual compassion, mercy, I think that, maybe it works occasionally, but it's not a long-term solution to anything. So does anybody in the chat land have any questions about the holidays? Any questions about life as it is right now? What do you guys think about the new graphics we have? I'd like to get feedback as we're kind of slowly but surely trying to increase the way that we are, improve the way we do our graphics and our image and stuff. I'd love any feedback you might have. All right. We have a lot of really great streams coming up in the new year. We are almost completely booked on Thursday nights all the way through the beginning of February, starting at January 5th. I believe it's January 5th, whatever that first Thursday is. And thank you, Fifth Sunday. So we have just a bunch of great guests coming up, basically from a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different perspectives. Some of them are going to be outside of the normal conversations we have, but I'm really excited to have some conversations around faith and around the way that people express it. Just really exciting stuff coming up in the new year. Can't wait for it to happen. Also, a quick notice, tomorrow we do have a podcast coming out, one of our regularly scheduled podcasts, but then the week between Christmas and New Year, the podcast that is coming, that will be out at that time, is actually the live stream that was with David Gushee. So if you missed that, or you want to catch that again, that'll be coming out not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow on there. Oh, you hope Sam comes back? Yeah, he was great. All Thursdays in January and February are booked. Yep, and I believe we have a few people that are on. We're waiting to hear back of when they come. So hopefully, before the new year, we'll actually be booked all the way through the end of March for our Thursday nights. So keep that in mind. I also just want to once again kind of give a little tease that in January we're going to be adding some things to AJFF. that I think are really exciting that we're going to be, I think are going to be things that you all are going to like, you're going to want to be a part of. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited about it. I can't wait till I can tell you more, but we're still kind of fleshing out all the details of it. And I look forward to sharing that with you. So, all right. It does not look as though there are any questions at the moment. So if that is the case, then I am going to bid you adieu. I hope that you have a beautiful holiday season, whether it is Hanukkah, whether it is Christmas, whether it is a secular expression of any of those things, or something else altogether. I just wish you the best, and I hope that you find time with your friends and your family to relax, to recuperate, to recover, and to go into the new year healthy and strong, and looking forward to what 2023 brings us. So with that, I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful night. Take care.